my name is Carla Grobler. I'm an occupational therapist here in Centurion. Today I want to talk to you a little bit about what is midline crossing. From the teachers, we sometimes hear, your child is not crossing the midline. So what is midline crossing all about? Hand in hand with that goes laterality and dominance, which we will speak about today. So between the ages of 2 to 4, a child usually decides, or the dominant hand comes into the foreground. So never force your child to be either left or right-handed. They are born being left or right-handed. Important, this is the midline of my body. Everything you should give your toddler, your little one, should be in the midline of their body. What I mean, put the spoon in the midline of their body on the table. They need to choose which hand will take the spoon to feed themselves. Put the crayon in the midline of their body. They will choose which hand will pick up the crayon to draw or to doodle. So very important, don't put the crayon into a hand, then you are forcing them to be left or right-handed. The same should apply at school. Usually here by the age of 5.5, a child should be completely dominant in one hand, or it can start to hamper other developmental areas. So if your child has not chosen a dominant hand by about 5.5, or the teacher or you as parents see they are still swapping their hands, it is important to send them to an occupational therapist to determine why they are doing this. The OT will then look at gross and fine motor skills to determine and make sure which hand is definitely the dominant hand. Why it's important to have a dominant hand is if you don't use one hand for all task or function, refined skill don't develop in your dominant hand. If there's no refined skill, fine motor skills like cutting, coloring, drawing will start to be influenced negatively because you're not using one hand or the left hand for function all the time. Just be careful. A child that has postural control issues, not stability at the shoulder joint, may swap hands because they get tired. But the OT will look at that to make sure, is it laterality issues? Is it postural control issues? Okay, so remember only 5% of the population is truly ambidextrous. The rest is laterality issues, which we can help a child to improve. So I'm going to show you by positioning activities a little bit differently how you can get your child to cross their midline more. Have a look. Okay, so when sitting at the table, and for example, we're doing pegboards, if the child is left-hand dominant, put the items on his right side, his non-dominant side. Then the one hand needs to hold the pegboard. My left hand, my dominant hand, have to cross my midline to get the item that I'm going to put in my pegboard. Crossing the midline to get the item to put in my pegboard. If you want to make it more difficult, move the pegboard even more to the left side, the dominant side. So I have to cross the midline even more. So we can do that with a variety of tasks, building puzzles, building Lego, crossing the midline like this. It is very important that the non-dominant hand must be on the table. If it's not on the table, the child will just turn their whole body like this. They are still not crossing the midline. Also important, check, children that don't want to cross their midline will lean to the side they're working on, because then I'm taking my midline with me. All right, so make sure they're not leaning because then they're not crossing the midline. Other tasks that you can do with them is stand with your feet quite far apart, not allowed to move. Give them a brush, dip it in water, and now they're going to paint a rainbow on the wall or on the garage door. So crossing over far overhead, the rainbow, painting it on the wall, feet not allowed to move. Also again, feet not allowed to move. Daddy will throw the ball on the left side of the body, on the right side of the body. I have to cross my midline. Go and have a look on my website, www.carlagrobler.co.za, on the tips for teachers and parents. There's loads of blogs, activities, activity ideas, articles that you can read to help your little one. I hope you have a nice day. Bye.